Thank you for watching. Perhaps you remember a long time ago, this is over a year ago, I actually unboxed HPI's Venture, their first dive into really the scale truck market, trail truck market, however you want to call it. Right now they have released, this is a pretty heavy box actually, they released this Venture Scale Builder Kit. Now, what is that? This is really not a lot to show in its current shape. This is exactly what it is, a scale builder kit. This is a whole pile of parts that will allow you to assemble basically the bare backbone to your next scale crawler. So it doesn't come with any electronics. It does come, I think, with a couple of upgrades. But which upgrades those are, I will find that out during the build. I think for now, I could show you all these bags and go like, look, this is bag E, and look, bag F, look, I'm not the only D bag in this video. There's another bag D, but I'm not going to do that. I think it's better for me if I actually assemble it. That way I can give you some feedback on what went together with great ease and what actually didn't. And then maybe with that information, in case you get some of one of these kits yourself, that can help you out, and you can go like, oh yeah, step 17B, that was a pain in the butthole because Chris already said that in his video. So I will assemble this. I will also put for reference purposes, I will put my Venture next to it, my other Venture, the one that was not a kit, so you can see what it can turn out like eventually. I think that's enough talking for now. I will break out all the hex drivers and whatnot, put this thing together, and then be back with you. So, how did this go? I have notes because there's a whole lot to cover here. I think that in my review of the Ready to Run, which I have over here, I already made it very clear that I'm really pleased with the layout, with the motor up front, the servo up front, the radio box up front. All of that stuff's really good. Now, what's better than in this Ready to Run are that this thing comes with a lot of upgrades. One of them being universals in front, also aluminum links instead of plastic links, and very surprisingly also, I think everybody on Instagram that has seen the picture of me posting that axle when it was still opened up. Axle weights, so I'm not sure if you're familiar with the beef tubes. HPI actually included some, well, tinier, but they included something that looks like a beef tube, so a brass weight that you can put inside the axle. More about that a tiny bit later. So there's a lot of good stuff going on over here. There's so much good stuff going on that I think it is a pity that they did not release this kit any sooner. I think with a lot of brands you don't really appreciate the level of engineering that's going on until you have put a kit together. So whether that was like in the past with, for example, the Axial, the Bomber, or the SCX-10-2, you don't appreciate that engineering, the level of thought that has gone into building a truck unless you build it yourself. And that's the exact thing that's going on with this HPI. I have assembled a lot of kits in my time, and this one by far is one of my favorites. One of the key things over here is that there's no parts tree, so there's no chasing around looking at a manual and then needing to trace around a parts tree to actually find the part. Everything comes pre-cut. So every step that you will find inside that manual is super clear. Everything is bagged really clearly. You can't go wrong basically. If there are steps where you could go wrong, then for example in the axle there's two button head screws that thread into the top of that axle housing. If you think, oh, I'll do that once I have assembled the axle halves, then you're going to strike out because it doesn't work like that. If you do that when they tell you to do it, you will actually see that those button head screws, that they actually act like a spacer between the bearing of the locker and those axle weights that I was talking about. Same with the C-hubs. Before you put those on, before you assemble the spindles on them, make sure that they're facing the right way. So if they are facing the wrong way, you won't get full steering. The steering link. and the panhard bar, and all those are steel, just like you would find them in the ready to run. And then all these other links that in the ready to run are plastic, or in this case they're anodized aluminum. Really nice. Also universals, they look really good. I'm not sure if it gives you a bigger steering angle than you would get on the ready to run, but it does give you a lot smoother drivetrain. All of the gears inside the axles, but also inside the transfer case, and also inside the transmission. All of them are metal, so you have no worries about stuff stripping out. All the bearings are nicely sized. The only thing that was a bit of a challenge to put together was that slipper clutch assembly. So the slipper clutch comes with 2 friction pads. You do need to make sure they have tiny notches in them. Make sure that they're seated correctly before you start assembling and pushing down on those friction plates. And the second friction plate has a hole which is slightly larger than the shaft that you're mounting it to. And that always leads to a really sloppy situation, so make sure that that is oriented the right way before you start torquing it down. Now what I did to put some preload on that slipper clutch spring was actually put it in a vise. Now some information over here as well. This is a PanaVise and this is mounted to a RaptorLoc base. I have a lot of these RaptorLoc plates. This is like a modular system that you can assemble yourself however you want to have it. So there's some Crocodile Clamps in case you do a lot of soldering. I have found that these come in handy more than a couple of times, and if you want to like broaden your collection of RaptorLoc items, you can easily lock them together. That's also what I will be doing once my workshop is finished. Amain actually sells these products and they are definitely worth checking out. The drivers that I use, also perhaps for once noteworthy, Protek RC drivers, those also can be purchased at Amain. I will make sure there's links to those in the description box. What you do not get with this HPI Venture SBK scale builder kit is thread lock. You also do not get any grease. That might be a tiny bit surprising, but perhaps not. I think most of us, we have thread lock, and in my case I use this other butter to grease everything up, so to pack everything inside the axles, but also inside the transfer case and the transmission, and also to lube up those metal yokes a tiny bit. This thing does come with a very coarse spline on the drive shaft, so that's not something that I think you should be worried about anytime soon. And I use these assembly mats. These are from Cow RC. This is a magnetic mat, so every step that you come across, you just dump all your screws and you dump your nuts out over it, weed through them, make sure that everything is ordered by size before you start assembling. This comes in really handy. This manual was fantastic. All of these parts, especially seeing that I don't have to start trimming them, I don't have to cut them off a parts tree. Also fantastic. There's nothing, I think that's very important to note here, there's nothing in this kit that I think you cannot use. So there's no plastic body chocks, for example. There's no single piece axle that you can't do anything with. Everything that is in this kit is actually worth keeping. And that, to me, as a builder's kit, is essential. This is a bare backbone that you want to use, and I think HPI actually nailed it. If I need to be really critical, then yeah, of course the battery tray sucks, but I mean there's options for that, and this ESC mounting plate could be dropped down 1/4 inch or 6 millimeters just to get a tiny bit of a lower center of gravity. But all in all, not a biggie. I will be doing up this HPI Venture SBK as a Toyota, just like the original, the ready to run. I'm not sure what type of wheels and tires I will be adding, but I guess we will find that out in one of the future videos. What you need to complete it: steering servo, receiver, radio, bumpers, ESC motor, a battery, and a body. And that's basically it. If you have any questions about the HPI scale builder kit, let me know. Let me know in the comments box. If you are curious, for example, what I think at the moment is the best non-portal trail truck that you can buy out there for 200 bucks, then you're looking at it right now. And that is what I think of this. Thank you so much for watching. Take care. Bye-bye.
We're back on.